Hello everyone, in this video, as the title suggests, we are going to break down EPEX's debut. Quick disclaimer, this video is based on my beliefs, my knowledge and my opinions. Having different opinions doesn't allow you to be indecent in the comment section. I will be pretty much shamelessly hiding such comments from the channel, therefore please have some manners, thank you. Secondly, this video is not supposed to hate on the group concerned, it's just an analysis and short review. Also, analysis in itself should be objective, but no analysis actually is 100% objective. While review is my own subjective opinion, keep that in mind. I am trying my best to follow these directions. And this video does not serve as a platform to hate on idols, neither for me or people in the comment section.
Respect.
The first thing we are going to break down today is the leader film. And in this leader film, the first thing we see is a depiction of the coronavirus model. This immediately positions us within a very specific context, and it sparks curiosity in people's minds. How exactly are they gonna approach this? Is this theme even wider? I think it's safe to say that basically the whole video is an answer to these previously asked questions. It seems to me that coronavirus is the main connection to a concept that is actually focused on various disasters, natural or people caused, happening around the whole world. The one who makes their way through the world, seeing all these bad things happening, is a silhouette of a little child. In my opinion, this figure is meant to add on an emotional involvement of the wide audience, because the way this figure ages throughout their journey kind of sparks a melancholic feeling inside of one's mind. At this point, I already thought that this concept is building on some kind of an activist sentiment, and I dare to say I was kind of right. The video proceeds to show a person sitting in a dark space, illuminated only by the lights of all TV screens. Those TV screens are showing earlier seen tragedies. This scene serves as a major call-out to anyone who sits at home and only hears about such dangerous events instead of doing anything to make the world a better place. Which is confirmed in the next shot that shows us a text: "Don't let it happen. It depends on you." This strengthens the urgency of the thoughts expressed in this leader film, along with the rough animations leading me to think that the concept and sound will be very edgy and hard-hitting. The video also ends in a glitch that ends up projecting the group's name and number of members. Now, there are various roads that can be taken with this kind of concept. Either a more emotional one with a story involved and a lot of drastic imaginary, or basically one that kinda makes use of the members embodying a movement, or let's say some kind of a fictional organization if we take it further. If I could compare it to any existing concept, the one that comes to mind is the one of K-pop group Stray Kids, precisely the concept for their song Miro, that very straightforwardly explained, at least from my point of view, calls out capitalism. That's just my point of view on that concept in that specific comeback. To be honest, I don't really follow Stray Kids that closely anymore, therefore I can't talk on other possible similarities, for example in their Slee series. What I think should be mentioned, and what most people probably can see, is that there is also similarity to EPEX's labelmate, CYX, who addressed mental health and various existential matters in their comebacks as well. Most notable is the comeback with the title track Numb.
They don't care no more.
This comeback also had a lot of side content addressing bullying and mental health problems. I find it quite sad that it is one of CYX's least viewed MVs because it's actually my favorite one.
Unphotographable. You're my favorite work of art.
And I think that this comeback has done a better job on approaching these topics than this debut. But about that I will talk a little more later on review part of the video. We are continuing our analysis with the debut trailers. The first debut trailer starts off with Kum, or Kim Dong-hyun for those of you who know him from Produce X 101 days. He is walking in a hallway, obviously very distressed because of something. His mannerism shows signs of anger. The camera is using a lot of close-ups to make these scenes appeal as some kind of a psychological dive into his mind. What is going on in his mind is shown in a sequence of flashbacks that appear rather psychedelic and with a lot of accent on a graphic of the word pressure. Apart from sentences from Kum himself talking about the desire to escape reality and about the distress he is feeling, there is another voice quoting a work of classical literature, 1984 by George Orwell. 1984 is a book about society that is under constant control and surveillance of a higher system. C9 does not leave this idea at the quotes alone, but also adds other elements from the book. While a game of ice hockey might sound like a trivial matter, when the video shows a scoreboard, we can actually see who EPEX plays against. This team is titled as the Big B. Now, if you didn't read 1984, there is a character, or let's say a mysterious entity, called Big Brother. There is a catchphrase or a slogan used in this book saying Big Brother is watching you. That the people in society portrayed in this book are reminded of all the time. Big Brother is basically a metaphor for a system above us, but can also be interpreted as the collective personification of a group of people who have the power over the world. This scene ends up in a shot of Kum being illuminated by a red light. However, the view of his figure is blocked by black ravens flying by. This view can actually be interpreted as Kum's own view of himself, distorted by dark thoughts in the form of creepy black ravens. The clip leads our focus to another member, this time it's Baeksung, staring into the camera talking about fear. The imaginary in following scenes show us this feeling of fear and danger as well. We see Baeksung walking on a pile of metal scraps. There is only one wrong step dividing Baeksung from getting seriously hurt by the sharp objects everywhere around him. In between these scraps there are plastic bottles, and inside one of them, symbolizing the life trapped by industriality of modern times, is some kind of a greenery. Baeksung's segment of this trailer is characteristic for the images of various mind maps, or at least that's what it looks like to me. What all of these have in common are various terms addressing bad mental state, danger, and lie or truth. But the most prominent word used the most often is enemy. Now, who is the enemy? Is it the Big Brother? Is it the government? We may not know for sure. After this segment we are back with Kum, who talks about anxiety, supported by image of himself disappearing in blurry color scheme, which obviously indicates some kind of an existential matter. He is losing sight of his own identity. Other scene is him being enclosed in a cage, which again calls out society that organically started evolving new boundaries as the system changes throughout the time. Follows the scene with a bomb activation countdown that is put on his own body. As someone who suffers with anxiety and has experienced panic attacks very often, I can say that this metaphor for the feeling of bursting from the inside is quite valid, but also might make it more difficult to understand. Who is the enemy then? Is there a paradox that it actually comes from our own selves? It's not very clear to me if this thought is actually there, but I can pretty much see it. In next scene, Baeksung is watching the Earth from space, just sitting and, let's say, chilling, talking about everyone suffering different anxieties, which in my opinion compares problems of an individual to tragedies concerning the Earth as a whole. So in my opinion, this whole video kind of tells us about persons suffering in a corrupted society and how it all affects the Earth and overall life on this planet as well. Second debut trailer, titled An Emotion Without Direction, Another Me, kind of seems more upfront about its message. The two words that are in center of attention here are depression in scenes with the member whose name is Amin, and fear in scenes with the group's McNay, Jeff. Just like in the first trailer, there is a lot of cages and timers going on, this time in my opinion indicating Jeff's patience level, if that makes sense, considering his keyword is fear and he is portrayed with fire around him. I'm guessing that the emotion he is holding in is anger. Fire is overall very often conventionally used as a symbol for anger. Also, he basically looks pretty pissed off the whole time. The other set is a rather dull, old room with Amin inside. His body and therefore also his movement is restrained by a straitjacket he is wearing, which again is very much relatable for me as someone who is not a stranger to mental health issues. C9 tried to visually mediate what a depressed person is feeling on the inside, which was also backed by another blurry imaginary, similar to the one from the first trailer. This imaginary shows us Amin losing sight of himself because of the dark ravens blocking his view. Jeff is also looking for the direction, using a compass, but it's not working correctly. That's a very accurate portrayal of a person who doesn't know what to do and isn't aware of how to behave in a situation that is given to them. Next, we are going to analyze the MV and the lyrics. The lyrics very obviously talk about lockdown itself, coronavirus, media and mental health. There are lyrics mentioning various electronic devices, hashtags, etc. in relation to changing manners and widening distance between people. There is also notable accent on social media and how people get shallow, competitive and hateful towards each other because of it. The rap mentions effect of media on person's self-esteem. There is a part that even describes time spent on social medias as an addiction. They talk about the desire to escape this kind of setup. There is quite a heavy accent on celebrities being part of this problem, including the capitalistic nature of this issue in the hook. That is even more apparent with the critical mention of brands. The name Big Brother, previously mentioned, is also present in the lyrics, which in connection with the 1984 book kind of refers to the system being operated by powerful people while everyone else is under their control. The boys strive to break free from all of that and live their own life, while encouraging the listener to do the same. If we are talking about the MV itself, there is a lot of scenes and locations shared with the teasers. I won't be coming back to this and will only talk about new scenes and new stuff, which isn't actually that many to be honest. Most notable is probably broken keyboard connected to the explosive. Since in lockdown we spend considerably much more time on the computer, sitting behind the keyboard, it is a way to convey how unhealthy this lifestyle is and how it can lead to our distraction. There is a scene where rays of light reflect on skin of the members, and it's actually making similar shapes that remind me of the nerves that are inside our body. That can be explained as a direct visualization of the effect virtual world and media has on our mental health. We are finally getting to the review part, and By now, EPEX's debut MV for Lockdown has over 21 million views, which is crazy honestly for rookies from not one of the biggest agencies. Apart from Kim Dong-hyun being in the group, I suspect that it actually has a bigger response in Korea than I originally thought. There is definitely a cultural difference playing into it and target audience. Considering various discourses of pressure regarding the education in Korea, the heavy accent on perfectionism, I think it's safe to say that this very upfront, almost screamy spotlight on the topics mentioned in the MV is actually very appealing for Korean youth, regardless of its aesthetic quality in my eyes. And even globally, it can actually pretty much speak quite loudly to the younger generation. Personally, the concept of this MV didn't really make it for me somehow. Honestly, I felt while the MV wasn't really pleasant to look at in any way, because there was nothing interesting to see compared to the teasers. The lyrics were pretty much all over the place, covering multiple topics. While media and pandemic definitely do have connection, the way they were used in the lyrics felt like they were addressing separate issues. It's because the problem with media now in the lockdown is mainly the misinformation being spread, rather than the effects they have on view of each person's self. While celebrities and capitalism definitely play a role as well, again, not in a way it was addressed here. Also, those boys are hella active on Instagram, so it was kind of pathetic in a way. I don't want to, be a hater, but this part of it is kind of... And that's the thing with K-pop groups in general, when they try to be woke, because usually they are woke in a way that puts down media and stuff, just like here, but if it wasn't for the media, they wouldn't have jobs. That's the problem, kind of, that I see here. Then again, I see that it was an effort made to address heavy topics, which in itself is admirable. I would probably appreciate it more if there was one clear theme that they would go for in the lyrics. I also didn't like the explicit mentions of various topics.
My headband, you're my headband, wrapped right around my melon. You're a product like Magellan.
Hold on.
To me, it kind of feels like something out of soap opera that tries to appeal to the current affairs, that audience very much is going through, and to be kind of on edge, which I heavily dislike in TV, and I disliked it here as well. It just made the song sound a little bit funny at certain moments, and probably I would appreciate a little bit different lyricism for the next title track, I'm not gonna lie. With the sound, I didn't have actually any problem. In fact, I could actually see myself marrying whoever made the bridge part.
Look at the stars now, so far away.
If they are a guy, call me.
Can we please talk about the giant elephant in the room?
Your sexuality.
And apart from the title track, I personally think the B-sides did a solid job actually having one fundamental theme to build on. And I also think that I should talk about the song Cyanide. It was receiving kind of a backlash prior to the debut. Maybe it's still receiving backlash, I didn't really check, because I didn't really care, honestly. I think the song is actually very good, and the lyrics, while they are on the questionable side, I think they address something really important to be addressed in Korea, and I think they are actually valid and relevant. Therefore, I don't really mind because I don't think they really promote the S word, honestly. I think they just address the thing that is going on in Korea because of, just like I mentioned earlier, because of the school system and everything, and how the accent on perfectionism in Korea is quite intense. And personally, I would select No Questions as the title track. I think it matches ages of the boys more as well. I'm glad that the concept at the very least isn't sexual, which seems to be often a problem regarding the ages in rookie groups. I am gonna end this video with the mention of the other groups from C9 Entertainment, because EPEX is considering the growth of the views like a new C9's powerhouse kinda. It could lead to people being concerned for their other groups, namely CYX previously mentioned and Signature. While neither of them is doing as good as EPEX is, I honestly have faith in C9 to not let them down. Signature suddenly lost 2 members like last month or so, and 2 new members were added. In my opinion, that would not happen if they planned to let them go, since Signature itself is extremely weak as source of income. Definitely not as a group, but as a source of income for the agency so far, yeah, they are weak. And the response to them is so much lower than CYX's as well. And since they are, at least it looks like it, that C9 is saving Signature, they definitely wouldn't stop promoting CYX, since CYX has much wider response than Signature. While I didn't enjoy EPEX's title track Lockdown itself, I am definitely gonna keep my eyes on them and look forward to what's next, bopping to No Questions while I'm at it. The boys are obviously crazy talented and I wish them all the best. Thank you very much for taking your time watching my very first video ever. I tried my best. What was the hardest for me was the talking, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not used to talking so long in English, it's not my first language. I tried my best, sometimes it sounds a little off, but I basically recorded everything multiple times and I am done. I would love to hear your feedback, what was done good, what was done bad on my part, you know, so I can learn to do better in the future. Also, if you have any idea what you would love me to either analyze or hear my opinion on, or if you have on mind any other type of content you would like to see from me, you can leave all that in the comment section below, along with your opinions regarding EPEX's debut.
Come on, this is the safe space. We're on the internet.
Just remember you all to keep it decent, because whoever is gonna be rude or shady is gonna be hidden from the channel. No questions asked. Thank you very much again and bye! Bye, 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 bye. Arisongye, Arisongye, Arisongye. Arisongye.
Addison, yeah.